Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Thursday, all of our guests today, including John Shannon, standing by, brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Giants return to the LEC November 18th, Friday, to take on Kamloops. White Spot Legends Weekend to help celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Canada-Russia Summit Series 72. Giants will be wearing Canada jerseys, replicas of the ones worn in the series. There you see it on your TV screen, or see them. There will also be 4 members of the 72 Canadian team at the game: Yvonne Cornwallier, Dennis Hall, Pete Mahovlich, and Dale Talon. Get all of your ticket packages and info at vancouvergiants.com/tickets. I've just been aware of this, but made aware of this. Fred Hickman has passed away.
Yeah,
at the age of 66. And I don't know how many people remember this, but CNN used to do sports in a big way, a show called Sports Tonight. Yeah. And Fred Hickman was front and center as one of the real solid hosts. He leaves us at the age of 66. Keith Olbermann worked there. Dan Patrick worked there. Jim Huber, the late, great Nick Charles, who covered boxing.
He was so good.
So well. A lot of us watched that show before CNN moved to strictly news. With that news, speaking of people who know a thing or two about television, we move on to John Shannon, NHL analyst and co-host of the Bob McCown podcast. You must have watched Sports Tonight back in the day, John.
I'll tell you what, Fred Hickman, Nick Charles, I thought at 11:30 at night they did a better job than anybody else.
Yeah.
But I wasn't watching Sports Page in those days.
Yes, that's true. They were on a national level, and it was. And you know what? To be honest, John, like we would watch that show as we got ready each night to go on the air at 11 o'clock with Sports Page.
I think they were better than ESPN at that time.
Yeah,
I really do. I think that they were. They set a bar pretty high, and unfortunately, Fred and Nick have both passed, and Jim Huber was always great with his essays about the Masters and golf, and they did a heck of a job for a long time. And TNT and TBS are one of the great secrets of sports in the United States. I think I think that people don't understand their impact when you consider what they've done for the NBA, and in fact what they're doing for the NHL now.
Yeah, no, that was a great show. And Jim Huber had, I can't remember what it was, but he had a connection with the Atlanta Flames as well. Hey, John, can you understand what, as we focus on another Canuck loss here, can you understand what Jim Rutherford is up to, going public on 3 occasions that we know of with his criticism of the Canucks team structure and, as a result, his head coach?
Nope.
Okay. Any theories around?
But the only thing I will say, though, is Jim does everything with purpose. Mm-hmm. This is not Harold Ballard just flying off shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
Jim, from the time he sat with Scott Oak to the time he did the radio interview, he chooses every word. He's understands it. The lesson, though, I would say is, and I think Jim is probably going through a little bit of a learning curve too. It's a lot easier to manage and have these opinions in Hartford, in Raleigh, and in Pittsburgh than it is in Vancouver. Yep. And so when Jim Rutherford says hello, that's front page news in Vancouver, more so than in any other place. And I think that the ramifications, you have to wonder if he understands what the ramifications of those words are. But every word he selects specifically.
I may have asked you this before, but we've got another chapter here because of the recent Rutherford comments. But what is Bruce Boudreau's reputation as a head coach?
Well, I think Bruce has always had a good relationship with his managers. I think that he's a player's coach. I think that the question that you have about Bruce is never about the regular season. Is that Bruce is a great regular season coach, but can he win in the playoffs? Can he get his team over the top? This was a team. He had an Anaheim team up 3-1 against Chicago, but they couldn't win. He's taken teams to conference finals, but he hasn't taken teams to Stanley Cup finals. And so, but to when you look at the turnaround in Washington when he took over, in Anaheim when he took over, and even in Minnesota, he has a reputation as a guy that can make the best of a situation and keep his players on a positive keel. And I think that's what he did last year. Oh, by the way, guys, just for the record here, we are live.
We are live. Yes. Yeah, we are live. Okay. John, here's a question for you. Okay, so in everyday life, when a manager isn't happy with an employee, you fire him. Why is Bruce not being fired in your eyes? Is this the owner saying, Travis Green 2.7, Bruce, you're going to have to pay 2, new guy you're going to have to make. Look, nobody likes to pay employees not to work. What the thing I get around from the hockey world is if they're not happy with Bruce, why is he still here?
Well, first of all, I think when these guys have some savvy. Jimmy has some savvy. When you see the team playing as well as they did at times, even in that last home game, and you hear the people chanting his name, they hear that. I would argue that Bruce is a popular guy with the fan base, and that's important to an organization. I do believe that if Jim wants to fire, and Patrick, and we should put Patrick's name in this too, if the two of them want to fire Bruce Boudreau, they could. I've talked about this with you guys before. Jim Rutherford, as angry as he can get, as sharp tongue as he has been, in many ways is a very patient guy, and will be patient to a certain level, and when you talk about patience, it's whether you decide whether this guy's the coach or not. The other question, guys, and I think that this is something that a lot of people don't ask, not just in the Vancouver scenario, but other scenarios, is, okay, if not Bruce, then whom? Who will be the guy? Mm-hmm. And, that's, where does that fit into all of this? Okay, we're going to fire Bruce. We're going to get rid of him. He's gone. Okay, who's going to take over? I mean, who is there somebody lurking? Barry Trotz has already told people he's not ready to coach yet.
Yeah.
So is Barry the right guy for this organization? Who knows? I mean, and Barry's not cheap.
No. Well, that's why.
Cheap.
Yeah, but if I'm Francesco, I don't want to pay $10 million to 3 guys to coach, and when 2 of them are sitting at home collecting checks for nothing.
So you agree with Francesco?
Yeah, I don't know any owner of any business that wants to pay employees to sit at home and not work, John. I just don't get that. Your thoughts on Mitchell Miller, Boston Bruins? It's just a gong show, like from start to finish. What happened there, John? I mean, like the NHL looks so bad. The Bruins look so bad.
I don't think the NHL looks bad. I will defend the commissioner on this one. He made it pretty clear in the press conference in Finland that he was not very happy with that scenario. The Bruins, this is an embarrassment to the Bruins. I think that the only thing of positive, there were probably 28 things that are negative about this, and the one thing positive was that Cam came out early in the week and said, "Hey, we screwed up.
Yeah,
we made a mistake." Mm-hmm. And now the Bruins have gone and reached out to the young man that was bullied. This is, this is where you wonder in the old-fashioned, and both of you are old enough, the old-fashioned hockey ops world.
Yeah,
scouts. And we got to do it. We don't care what people think. We got to, and gosh, this is 2022. The world has changed. You have to be much more empathetic. You have to be much more detailed. I had lots of friends in Boston said, "So what looking for advice? What should I say about this?" And say, "Well, you just hope the Bruins have done their due diligence. You just hope the Bruins have done that." And quite frankly, the Bruins didn't do their due diligence. So they didn't do it. They didn't do it well enough, and shame on them. And by the way, they better go the extra mile between now and and the next time they have an issue like this to make sure that people understand that they are empathetic and can work with many diverse groups to understand not only bullying but mental health and diversity.
We're out of time here, John, but let me leave you with this. Maybe you can use this on Bob's podcast and your podcast. But every time, and we've done this 2 or 3 times, we run a poll question on who's to blame for the Canucks' troubles. Bruce Boudreau will get 1% of the vote. It's all about blaming management, ownership, and players. The majority of people, large majority of people in this market, don't want to see Bruce Boudreau go. At least not right now.
Popular.
I understand that. I mean, that has. I mean, remember when he got hired? People said, "Finally, they've got somebody the fans like." I mean, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet.
Yeah, John, thanks for this. It was live.
By the way, get Toigo. Toigo should be buying you burgers. Everybody should be getting free burgers. Even that night in Langley, they should be getting free burgers. So get Toigo to buy you burgers.
Hey, John, there's people who want Toigo to buy another hockey team. The one down the road.
Yeah, the one.
Well, we get Ryan Reynolds part of that group.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into that next week.
Yeah, and Buble.
John, thanks for this. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
All right.